Well, I didn't actually, I made the call. I was wrestling for, well, I did really well for Crockett and everything. And then they sent us out to the Central States area where we starved ourselves. I mean, they starved us to death out there. And Crockett owned it, but they wouldn't put, Geigel in that office would not put the effort into running a successful promotion into it because they're not getting anything extra. And besides, they want to go ahead and let Crockett get out of there. Crockett, they bought that as a tax write-off anyway. They want Crockett gone so they can have their company back, their area back, their territory back. So me and Warlord drew, I think, 63 grand in Omaha one night. I mean, we were driving 400 miles to a town and there'd only be 9 people there because nobody did any advertising or something. Elvis could be playing right next door and not sell a ticket if nobody knows, and that's what we were facing. And anyway, but we drew 63 grand in Omaha. So I called the office, I called Dusty up the next day. I said, hey, when are we going back? That gave everybody a shot in the arm. We're all excited. We're all, give it what we got. Because we were getting battered. That was a hard territory, but you got to pay your dues. Anyway, he said, y'all aren't going back. This is going to be for the Charlotte office to run. Our successful town, that's our big hit, that could make our month.
Right.
And then I get the payoff next week and it was for $75 in the main event title match. So I called the office up and the Crockett goes, Jimmy says, well, we've lost a lot of money in that territory. And I said, if y'all would do it, send somebody out here to do it right. They wouldn't listen. So when he said, that's all I was getting, I said, well, you've got my 2 weeks notice now. And, I did business. I, did the right business. And I dropped the title to Dundee on TV. And then I went to work for Watts. When I went to work for Watts, I was there for 7 months. It was great. Was on top of the world. I was making like good money again, and then Crockett, after 7 months, Crockett bought Watts out, told Crockett told the boys Eddie Gilbert was the booker, said nobody was going to get fired or lose their jobs. Then Eddie calls me into TV early, except he said, except for you and Dahl are gone. I was like, okay. So I went home, told her, I made the call to Vince. And he said, you start May 10th. So before my 2 weeks for Crockett, I already had a start date for Vince, which then a lot of the guys, because Crockett had said in the meeting that nobody was going to get fired, but then comes back. So then he tells they let all the guys know I'm going to work for Vince. So now I'm a turncoat or a trader. I had Buddy Roberts was chasing me down, always trying to jump on me. I was like, Buddy, you don't want, and Buddy did. And then finally, when we talked about it, I told him, he's like, oh, that son of a bitch,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but I had a lot of good times. So I went to work for Vince, and I enjoyed it. It was a rough schedule. It was hard, a lot of things were different, but like, look what the guy's done with, a small time. He brought carnival wrestling from whatever generation of the 50s or whatever to the biggest coliseums and arenas in the world.
Watts ran a rough territory, right? A lot of time on the road, a lot of days. What was the big difference between Watts and Vince?
Oh gosh. Well, Vince, you were flying everywhere. You'd be flying 2 or 3 times, or sometimes I think the most I ever took 5 flights to get to a destination or something. Oh, wow. But you were flying everywhere. But then if you got an area, you were driving. For Vince, the driving wasn't that bad because your trips were less than 200 miles. So that wasn't too bad. For Watts, for Crockett, you'd be in Hampton, Virginia one night, and had to be in Charleston, South Carolina the next. That's 600 miles to book. Watts, and what was hard for them was when you had like Tulsa or Oklahoma City on Sunday night, New Orleans on Monday night. That's at almost 900 miles. So but yeah, you reflect a lot, I guess. It's a good time to get to know yourself because you ain't gonna get to know your family like that unless you take them with you.